Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin, here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is ritual and how we use ritual to mark moments in time and moments in our lives, and how maybe we can incorporate it in our daily lives in a certain way that can elevate our experience of our own breakthroughs, our own growth, etc. But before we get started, let's take a couple moments to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light, lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, all your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together. Vigorously rub your hands together and feel the friction, the motion, the pressure, the temperature, and the tickling and tingling when you stop. And allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, good morning, Rosalind. Welcome. It's great to be here with you and with everybody else who's joining us. Today, we're talking about ritual and the power of ritual to elevate moments in life. And I get, we don't want to make everything a ritual because, you know, the part of what makes a ritual so special is that it is not an everyday occurrence. However, there are opportunities, many more opportunities for ritual in our lives that I think can enrich us and help us to elevate the importance of certain moments. And so where this conversation comes from is I had the good fortune to go to my goddaughter's wedding yesterday, and it was a beautiful, beautiful celebration. And it made me think about weddings and the ritual of weddings and how it's been cultivated for however many reasons over years and years and years. And it becomes, you know, these big events that we share socially and collectively become markers, you know, they become what's the word? Milestones. And so I'm wondering, there are many times when in our own lives, we achieve certain milestones, and oftentimes those milestones go by without any kind of recognition. Yes. So Rosalind says, ritual different from routine, as in morning routine. Thank you for that distinction, because people say I have a morning ritual. You know, I go through these different things every morning. And so I'm talking about ritual in a different way from routine, to elevate moments to a place of specialness. Like I said, if we do the same thing all the time and we're doing it over and over and over, it loses its specialness typically. And so I'm looking at places in our own lives where, for instance, we achieve a breakthrough. It's not typically something that we get to share or something that we celebrate oftentimes. And I'm extending the invitation to us all to take more time to create, to honor these moments that are pivotal moments, these moments that are breakthrough moments for us, so that we can elevate their importance. That, so not just breakthrough moments, but for instance, we typically honor the passing of people with a funeral service and a ritual that honors their lives. And when pets die, despite the fact that we have often a much closer relationship with them than our human relationships, we don't honor them in the same way typically, and somehow allow those moments to pass by with less importance. And so the ritual of a funeral or of a memorial of some sort is a way that we elevate a moment. A wedding is a way that we elevate and celebrate a union. And when we have a personal triumph, if we meet a goal that has been a long-standing goal, if we achieve something that we have been working toward, or even if we have a revelation that is life-changing, we don't typically celebrate these things. We don't typically honor them with a ritual that acknowledges their importance. So Rosalind says, spiritual practice might look like doing something around the full moon. Yeah, so that's actually a really good example. So the full moon comes over and over and over again, and people do practice a ritual to honor it. And when that occurs, that particular full moon becomes memorialized in its way, right? It becomes something that is more deeply experienced, is more deeply remembered. And when I talk about remembered, I heard in the word remembered, like reconstructed. When we mark a moment, we elevate it in a way that allows us to access it again more easily. I'm not a big advocate for living in the past, but certain rituals allow us to make present relationships, awarenesses. When, for instance, a graduation is a ritual celebrating an accomplishment over time in school or in a particular program, and we get diplomas. So it's not all about the diploma, it's about what it took to get to that place where the diploma was received. And a lot of us rebel against traditional rituals. That notwithstanding, we can still create our own rituals that have meaning for us and utilize them to enrich our lives and enrich our awareness. So I think it's interesting to look at what kinds of rituals we create. And we can also be looking at what kind of routines we create for ourselves. So, because the thing about routine is we are often engaged in routine in a way that is actually pretty unconscious, like we just go through the motions and we do the things that we always do because we always do them, rather than using those routines to be present. We usually end up sort of checking out in the context of those routines, and just doing them because we always do them, rather than using them as a way to focus our attention and intention. So I guess we can look at what kind of rituals we might have. So for instance, a cacao ceremony is a ritual, and it's creating a container, right? We're creating a container for a certain sort of experience. And there are elements of that that are ritualized to engage us in different dimensions of being, of experience. And we often think about ritual in context of prayer, for example. But I think I'm talking more about markers and using ritual to mark those moments in life that are important, and we can elevate them or not. So this was, I don't know why this popped into my head, but years and years ago, there's an actor named Yul Brynner who he was in The King and I, and he was just this wonderful, wonderful actor, wonderful figure. And years ago, I was smoking cigarettes, and I heard I guess it was like a public service announcement kind of thing, that he had done. And he had apparently had been a smoker, and I guess that he died of lung cancer. And so this PSA that he did was saying, smoking contributed to my death, that I died of lung cancer, and you can choose not to, and or you can choose not to contribute to your ill health in that way. And in that moment, I allowed myself to hear that as another human being reaching out to shift my life. And it wasn't that there was a particular ritual that was associated with that, but I allowed myself to take that moment and elevate it and make it meaningful, to mark that moment. And I stopped smoking. I was never a huge smoker, and I didn't smoke for years and years, kind of thing. But it was a powerful experience for me, because I allowed it to be, because I elevated it. And I think that's really the heart of this conversation, is how can we allow ourselves to elevate moments of importance, to honor those moments, whether we create a ritual or ceremony around those moments, or whether we mark them by making an entry in a journal or a breakthrough list, or something, some kind of conscious attention that can allow us to honor a moment more fully, and thereby make it more real somehow. So when we have a memorial ceremony for someone, when we have a funeral, what we're doing is honoring that person. We're marking their lives in a way that engages our being and our memory to hold that event in a different context. You know, we talk about energy and creating a field of energy, and I think that that's one of the things, one of the functions of ritual, that ritual enables us to create or generate a different kind of field that carries an intention. So I've been thinking a lot about this energy thing, and wave and particle. Have had a whole bunch of conversations around wave and particle. And when we think of waves, there's a connectivity, a continuity. And I think somehow as I'm feeling into it, it feels like this notion of ritual can connect us more to the wave than the particle. The particle is something that's an isolated incident, whereas the wave creates a greater continuity and connection. And it feels to me, as I'm sensing into it, that's part of the function of ritual, is to create this deeper connection. Rosalind, you are so wonderful. So first, she says, like celebrating the 100th episode. How many broadcasts are there for the Core Connection? How long ago was the first one? Oh my gosh, Rosalind, you are so sweet. I think we are way over the 100th episode, because we started Core Connection at the beginning of COVID. So good morning, good evening, Gia. Welcome, welcome. So good to be here with you. So glad to have you with us. Rosalind, thank you for that. So had I known when the 100th episode was, and we celebrated it, that would have been a marker, and that would have been a wonderful thing to ritualize in a way, you know, to go back over greatest hits or something like that, you know. But that's very, very sweet of you to bring that idea up. I don't know where we are in numbers of episodes. I know it's quite a lot. You know what, I think I can find out a little bit. Let's see, because I have an Airtable that has the episodes. So it looks to me like it's over 750. That's kind of hard to believe, because as of April 28th, it would have been 750 episodes. So that's just amazing. Maybe we should celebrate the 1000th episode when it shows up. That's insane. Wow, that's something to I'm kind of in awe, actually, thinking about that. Yeah, crazy, right? And those are without the replays. So crazy. And then I guess it would be almost another year before we would get to 1,000, right? It's funny, I was talking to somebody and saying it's amazing that there's still stuff to talk about, and how, well, they said the more we talk, the more there is to say. So I think that that's pretty interesting. It's interesting too, like when you talk about routine and ritual, I think that doing this each day for me is that it's a routine, but it is, in its way, it is also ritual. It is an opportunity to be convening and sharing thoughts and becoming present to new ideas, exploring, and there's power in that as a ritual also. It doesn't necessarily say, well, this day is different from all other days, but it does serve a purpose of focusing and connecting. And whether it's a ritual or a routine or a habit or whatever, I value it very much, and I value the opportunity to spend the time with you and to have the conversation that arises out of this. Yeah, I'm wondering what other kinds of rituals we might create for ourselves that are celebrations, that are marking particular moments. I remember when I was in sales, there were certain goals that we would make all the time, to, milestone kinds of things. And when those milestones were achieved, it was like, okay, great, next. And I think that that's something that we do a lot in life, is we have a recognition, we have an awareness, and it gets buried in the mundane aspects of day to day without any acknowledgement often. I think that when we take a deliberate action to acknowledge something, we're elevating its importance, we're elevating our awareness of it, and thereby creating a more conscious recognition of our own process and our own development and our own path. And I think there's something important about that. I think there's something useful about that, to recognize our own growth and evolution. So for instance, one of the things that I have people do who are my clients is keep a breakthrough journal, which is a bullet list of breakthroughs. And that gives them an opportunity, because they're ritualizing something, they're documenting it, they are marking that moment. It makes it more important, it gives it more weight, more relevance. If we just move through life without making those marks, we don't often appreciate or have the depth of appreciation that we could for the transformations that we undergo, for the richness of the experiences. Somehow somehow, standing back, reflecting, recognizing it brings something more solidly into our consciousness, into our being. We can recognize that, oh, this is meaningful. We're meaning-making machines anyway, so it's not that something is inherently meaningful. We assign meaning to things, but in so doing, we can help to enrich our own lives. We can help to deliberately shape ourselves through that acknowledgement, I think. When we acknowledge that we have grown, that we've done something or experienced something, it creates a different frequency, for lack of a better way to talk about it. It creates a different awareness and relationship to our experience that can be very enriching, I think. It's another way that we can consciously cultivate meaning rather than unconsciously being at the effect of it. And this is reminding me of something that a friend years ago said, is everything is symbolic and nothing is symbolic. That we find meaning in anything and everything, and there is no meaning inherent in those things. So everything has meaning and nothing has meaning. But since we are meaning-making machines, maybe we can do that in a more conscious and deliberate way that serves us in meeting our intentions, that serves us in moving toward our intentions. So anyway, I think that's it for today, talking about ritual and meaning and routine, habit. Interesting to be looking at how we structure our realities. Anyway, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. I go live here each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And it is my pleasure and privilege always to be with you. And I have such gratitude for your engagement with these mornings. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, hopefully. And until next time.